What you will see on any given day when you come into my classroom, which is a intensive reading classroom, is that I will open the class with a thought for the day. Students are to access information that they have in their own lives, apply the quote to themselves, as well as explain what it means. We move from that whole group to setting up the day. We're going to talk about what happens today, where we go, what's expected, and then we'll wrap up at the end. The first move would be perhaps to the computers for differentiated learning on the computers. It could be to small group where they would work one-on-one with me, about a 1-to-7, 1-to-8 ratio at the most. Or there'll be an independent reading where they will either be reading a book with their group, or they'll be reading independently their own choice of a novel or informational text. It could be a magazine, it could be just about anything, but it gets them reading. All right, opener 66. Will Rogers says to us that those are people who fly into a rage always make a bad landing. Do you know anybody who flies into a rage? I mean, do they fly? How do they fly? What can it?
Well, I know a lot of people that fly into a rage because they don't know how to react towards other people. So the first thing that comes to mind, they just automatically fly for him because they don't know everything to the story. So they just automatically, that's their first reaction to the situation.
To whatever it is, right? Do you know where anger comes from? Anger is always a response from fear. Let's look at the second part of that. He says that they always make a bad landing. What does he mean by that?
Meaning they always regret it.
Right, something's wrong. It's not going to be good. What kind of bad landings could they make? Now, of course, we know this is figurative language. It's not literal. Somebody's not up there flying into a range and they're not landing. This is figurative language. So he's trying to give us an image that's really bigger than the words that are there. What would be a bad landing? Think about that person that you already have in mind, who goes up really fast, gets mad, flies into a rage. What kind of bad landing is there? Yelling, throwing things, wanting to fight. Using their hands.
Hurting someone physically or emotionally.
Hurting someone physically or emotionally, absolutely. Because emotional hurt is just as big as the physical, right? Maybe even bigger. Certainly longer lasting. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so remember, on your response, you're doing two things. The first part, you're going to explain to me what Will Rogers means by this. What was he trying to tell us in this figurative language? And the second thing is you're going to apply it to yourselves. Just remember that when you do that, you don't have to give names or situations. Just tell me how this applies in your life. Okay? All right, you have 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and transition. I'd like to see Rodney, Herb, Jeff, Mike H., Candy, Brianna, Brittany, and Mike G. at the round table with me today, okay? The rest of you, if you'd go ahead and move to the computers, that would be Cecilia, Tyler, Brandy, Esteban, Darius, Charlouise, Eunice, Dinesha, and Chantel. I think I have everybody, right? Okay, if you'd go ahead and do that, please. First, use up the computers on the left. All you need to bring to the round table, thank you, Candy, that's a good question. All you need to bring is something to write with. I have everything else over there for you. While I'm working with a small group, the other two groups of my students will be in two other places. One group will be working at the computers and another will be in independent reading. While working on the computers, students are able to use a program where they can view video, read passages, practice their spelling, practice word usage, all within the same context or theme. Then they progress as they go along, and the computer program accelerates or decelerates whatever needs to happen for them to learn the skills that are basic and present in the program. That support really helps because the next group is also then in independent reading. They are able to read in a small group either the same information if they're reading together and working on either a novel or an expository piece, biography, memoir, could be anything like that that I've chosen for them or that they've chosen for themselves in their group. And at the same time, I'm working with a small group, and together we'll work on the specific skills that students need. And groups are changed from time to time to work on those skills so that learning is differentiated. We're going to go back to how we learn words exponentially. So what I did was I went through and I picked out from the 120 stems that you know. Did you realize that you have learned 120 stems already this year? You've done a huge amount. And I think you're going to see now that when I was pushing you so hard all through the semester, it's paying off. Your final exam is going to be a piece of cake. What I want you to do is exactly what I'm doing. I made up a form for us to go ahead and start our review. And I'm going to pick out just anywhere. Actually, here, Jeff, pick one out for me, please. Okay, so that's one of our most important stems. I'm going to do that one. This is said. Okay? Said. Who remembers what said means?
Sit.
Sit, absolutely. So I'm going to put on my sheet, no, not in marker, I'm going to do it in pen. I'm going to put the stem said, and underneath it I'm going to put the meaning sit. Now, off the top of my head, I'm going to do what I can to come up with as many words as I remember that we built using the stem said. I remember sedate.
Superset. Hold on, what?
Sediment. The one where, remember we talked about how if you're sitting at the computer for a long time or you have a job like that where you don't get up and move, it's bored. Sedentary. Sedentary. Can you think of anything else right off the top of your head?
Settle. I don't mean the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it matches the stem. We have to think about following the meaning of the stem. We're talking about sitting, okay? Now, what would I do if I were looking for more words than just the 3 that we came up with off the top of my head? What would be the next best thing for me to do? To go to the dictionary. Can you go ahead and look real quickly for me? We're not going to spend a lot of time. Just look real quickly and see if you see any other words that begin with the stem said.
Sedimentation.
Sedimentation. Okay, we have sediment. What is sediment? Remember where that is?
It's going down.
Yeah. It's like under a body of water. Sediment is what comes from when water is moved. It's at the bottom.
Seduct.
Or seduct.
Seduce.
Okay, does that follow the stem? Look at the etymology. Look in the brackets. Does it follow the same stem? Or does it come from another one?
I have sedile in here. S-E-D-I-L-E. And it says to sit.
Is it sedile? Look at the pronunciation. How do you say it? Sedile?
Sedile.
Meaning to sit. There's good. That follows our stem. Can you think of any others?
Sedation.
Mm-hmm. Does sedition follow it? I know sedation would, right? But that is a relative of sedate. What does it mean when you sedate someone?
Sincerely, deliberately composed and dignified.
Mm-hmm. They sit like that. And if somebody's in the hospital and they are nervous and upset and we want to give them some medication that will calm them down, then we do what? Do you know this word? Sedate? We sedate them. Okay? We calm them down. So since the stem said means sit, and you all remember that quite well, you have to branch out and think about words in a bigger way. Now you're going to take the stem and you're going to build words with it. So sedate, sediment, sedentary, sedile. That's what I want you to practice right here, and then we're going to share them. We're going to take about 5 minutes, and each one of you gets to pick a stem. All right, let's think back. Good. Access that memory. Awesome. You came up with it right away. Okay? Now, on the second half of your page, I better get another one, too. Huh? All right, I'm going to do sanct, and I'm going to put it right here. All right, so you did the same thing I practiced at the beginning with your stem. You put yours down. I know I have sanct, and I want to say that means holy. Awesome. What are you wearing?
Glasses.
Mm-hmm. What's the old name for glasses? Okay, so what does it mean, spec? Okay.
Look.
Very good. Good. See how it's coming back to you? Good job.
Huh?
Suicide.
Sui is...
Means self-doubt.
Yeah.
Or suicide. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's kill.
Yeah. Yeah. Some means
No, it
kill.
means self-inflicted or
I know. Look it up.
Hold up, I'm still writing.
means death.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that thing.
Death kills people.
That's suicide. It means death.
Self.
Self.
Self. But what you know, right? But what you know is suicide, right?
Yeah. You kill
Okay.
yourself.
Now make the pattern, make the connection. Homicide, suicide, genocide. Side obviously means something that,
You don't want to do.
yeah, murder.
Committing suicide.
Murder, probably. Okay? If we were looking at that stem, we'd probably attach the English word murder to side. Okay? Death, anyway. So suicide is death.
Inflicted on self.
Right. Good. What about the one that has to do with beliefs? Differing beliefs.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember it.
Okay? Do you remember our stem docs?
Heterodox.
Heterodox. Right. Heterodox. Good. See, you just got to access that memory. That's why we're reviewing before you have the final. Good. All right, next one.
I had spect. I got inspect, introspective, spectate, and spectacle.
Good. What does spec mean? Hold up your stem so everybody can see that because we're going to have to write these down to make sure everybody knows them, okay? To look. Remember spec? Okay? At a football game, what do we call the people who are watching the game? Spectators. What does Candy look through?
Spectacles.
Spectacles. Exactly. Spectacles. Okay? The old and formal name was spectacles. Okay? No, I'm the one with the bifocals, but they're just in contact form. She's not there yet. All right, Herb, what do you have? Ego. Ego means what? I. Remember, it's the pronoun, the Greek pronoun. It's the pronoun I, capital I. Okay, what do you have for words that are built with the stem ego?
Alter egoism, ego mind, and ego
Like egocentric. Okay. Do you know people egotistical and know anyone like that?
Yes.
It's all about moi. That's right. All about me. That's right. And then, of course, one that we built with two stems, alter and ego. Okay. What is your alter ego?
Other self.
Your other self. Excellent. All right. What have you got, Bree?
Mono, and that means one. I got monoculture, monolithic, monochrome, monogenic, and monogram.
Awesome. Which was one of the words from our vocabulary pack?
Monolithic.
Monolithic. Do you remember what it means? Something that is monolithic?
Old rock.
A rock.
Okay. Well, we know that lith means
Stone.
stone or rock. We know that mono means one. But does it mean just one rock? No. How does the stem change as you use it in words? Something that's monolithic.
Huge.
Stop.
Yes, it's huge. It's massive. Can it be applied to things? Like, do you remember we talked about if you're looking out at a parade and you see soldier after soldier after soldier after soldier, could that be a monolithic appearance of the Army? Absolutely. It sure can. It's something huge and uniform like that. Massive. All right, take a moment, if you will, please, everybody. On the back side of your sheet, hold out your stems and write down what you heard. Like, I know that here is, I had said. So on the back of your sheet, write down said and a dash. What does said mean? Sit. Very good. Okay. Mike? Mike had mute, and it means? Change.
I had hetero, and it means different.
Candy had hetero, and it means different. All right. Now I would like it if you would sequentiously follow my directions, please, and hand me your cards for the next group. Thank you. Now I want you to hold on to these guys because we're going to do this over the next couple of days so that you get a review of all of your stems. Thank you, Mike. Well, what you've just seen is the three basic stations that are in my classroom. The computer station, where kids get individualized and differentiated learning for their level. The small group area, where they get time with me, and in independent reading, where they get to read on their own level, and oftentimes books or magazines or other things of their interest. One of the things that's very important to note about struggling readers is when we respect their choices and their interest, we get their compliance, and they will improve.